pop Viagra at the start of the fight.
Wait, but does Ricky get his wheelchair?
Yeah.
Because the other two have wheelchairs but need them. He doesn't need his. Okay.
No, there's already a show like that. It's called Robot Wars.
Go make some fucking cartoons, you fucking bastard.
ShockMouths needs to fix the rug!
Are you seriously that fucking naive? And ShockMouths is the expert. He's the boob expert.
I heard his podcast, and it's awful. Don't listen to it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ShockMouths podcast. I'm Mitch, and I didn't fuck up the opener. Fuck y'all. Wait, I'm Mitch. Yeah, that's what I said. And I'm here as always. I'm joined as always by the voice of God Ripley. I didn't close my door. I didn't close my fucking door. I haven't closed my door. Lily, come close the door. I can't reach it. That clip that you just said, now I've got to awkwardly scooch over and fucking close the door. I'm so proud that I didn't fuck it.
You celebrated too early.
It click. It didn't click. Alright. I was so happy there, and then I'm like, what could possibly go wrong? I look down, and the door's wide open. I'm like, oh, no. That I just played before the opener was Jake Internet Unwind stream on Twitch last Sunday. He invited me on to help commentate the YouTube boxing fight. I've never watched a boxing match in my goddamn life, so I'm honored for him to have asked me to come on. And yeah, did you watch the fight, Ripley?
I didn't watch the fight because I didn't want to pay like a ridiculous amount of money to watch that. But I did hear about the fight, and I do think it was completely fake.
Completely fake, like rigged.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you know how they said, because like what happened was Logan lost by like a smidge. And he got 2 points deducted for punching KSI in the back of the head as he went down. Now, I thought that just meant he lost 2 points straight up, but he lost 2 points per judge. So he lost 6 points in total. So he would have... He only lost by like a little bit, but he would have won by a lot more had he not done that. And it was... Yeah. And I didn't know, obviously, how boxing... I was going to say Boxing Day. How boxing works. So, like, I thought Logan Paul was well more in control than KSI. And, because he wasn't throwing as many punches as KSI, but like when he did, they were all connecting and they were like well controlled. KSI was just swinging like crazy, and he got more points for that because he threw more. But he had like less accuracy and shit, but like that didn't matter. What mattered was that he tried more, which I wasn't really a fan of. So yeah, that was that. That was a whole bunch of shit. Glad I didn't bet on that.
I just think it's weird that everybody was saying that Logan was gonna win and then KSI wins.
Yeah. Anyway. So, that was the other thing I want to talk about. Also, last week, I wanted to thank TwizFizz for coming on. I think she was a very good sport. She, despite being doxxed by accident, she continued. I know a lot of people who, if they were in that situation, they would not want to continue. They'd be like, nah, pull it. Just fucking stop. But, and not only that, then come and kill me. But people have wanted to do that for less. So I think she was a really good sport. Thank you a lot to her for that. But I also want to say I'm completely innocent. I looked over the tape. One hand was up here holding the mic. The other hand was holding a drink when it happened. And so it wasn't anything that I did. I didn't click anything to bring that up. You can go back. That's why I left it in there with the censored address, and you can see for yourself. I don't know about her. You couldn't really see her hand. Where were her hands? What was she doing? Oh, no, I don't know. No, it was a complete. I'm not blaming her. It was a complete accident. I'm so fucking scarred by that though. Like when I was re-uploading the censored footage, I like scanned over it for like an hour, like over the same spot to make sure that I hadn't missed anything for ages. And I was just like hovering my finger over the publish button. I don't want to fucking do it. I'm fucking scarred. If that was my first ever stream, I would have quit. That would have been it. I would never go back. Because I'm so careful with that shit. Like, Ripley, how many times have I sent you things? Is it like 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, we've sent out addresses to each other a couple of times now, and we always delete it like 10 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, because then I write it down, and then as soon as I've mailed it off to Ripley, I tear it up. I don't keep it on me. Like, I'm so careful with that shit. Like, even when I send it off to Twiz, I have no idea where she lives now because I've torn it up and into 20 million pieces her address and put it in 2 different bins. And I've deleted the original footage of her doxing, whatever. So it's not on my computer. It's not on my YouTube on private. It's fucking gone. If I have to mail her something again, I will have to ask her for it again. I think I know the suburb. That's about it.
I take it another step further, and I actually move house every time I send you my address. So I'll wait for you to mail me the thing, and then I move house.
You move house.
But there were 2 bright spots to this whole situation. One, my meme blew up on Twitter that I made out of it, which was really good. That was really good. Thank you. And then the other thing is now we can get rid of Skype.
Yeah, because we're never using that again. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to figure out some new shit. And so I was, like, up in the air as to whether I was going to mail it here. But then after that happened, I was thinking, like, man, probably should. Because, like, otherwise it was all for nothing. So I coordinated with her, me mailing off the package. I sent her tracking information, whatever. And then, the day that the package was going to arrive, I messaged her boyfriend, Ben, who listens to the show. And I said, oh, hey, man, package is coming today. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, the hair's coming today. And he's like, oh, did you send it? I'm like, yes. I'm thinking, like, don't they talk to each other? Like, I told her a couple of days ago. And he goes, oh, man, she's going to be so surprised. Like, she's going to be excited or something like that. And I was thinking, like, oh, she didn't tell him. And I didn't correct him. So if he's listening right now, he knows now. Like, she knows. Like, so maybe she, like, I was telling this to Lila, and Lila goes, well, maybe she was going to surprise him, but then he was planning to surprise her. And now there's this fucking cross-dimensional surprise that I've fucked up.
That's just the plot of a rom-com with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
like, I'm
Ben's
sure
Ryan
it is.
Reynolds.
That's got to be a rom-com with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I forgot to mention as well at the very beginning of the episode, we've got GeekSqueek coming on in a minute. But before I do that, I was just going to quickly tell everyone how I fucked up, because it was really bad. So, I've quit drinking after what happened the other day. So, I thought fucking up was going to be shaving my head, and the fallout from that. Which, by the way, I've got to clarify. I didn't shave my head before Keem unblocked me. People have this thing in their head that I shaved my head to try and get Keem's attention to then unblock me. And that's not how it worked. I put out there, hey, I'll shave my head if Keem unblocks me. And then he unblocked me, so I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta shave my head now. It wasn't the other way around. People seem to get it, like, fucking mixed up like that. And they call me a cuck and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, if it did happen that way, fair enough. Fair enough, that's very cuckish. And then, by the way, as well, Wednesday, right before I fucked up, it was an hour before I fucked up, Ricky Berwick tried to get me to shave my beard out of the blue. He's just like, I'm blocking you until you shave your beard. And then he blocked me, and I'm like, that's not how this fucking works. What? No, I have to put out the offer, and then you have to accept. You don't go blocking me and then make me shave. Then I'm a cuck. Then you can call me a cuck if I went and shaved my beard. I was like, well, sorry, Ricky. Nice knowing you, but... And then 20 minutes went by, I think it was, and I'm like, oh my god, he's not going to unblock me. Well, I'm not shaving it still. I'll wait 2 years, and even then I won't shave it. But anyway, so how I fucked up was, there was a work function I had on Wednesday, and it only went for 2 hours, and during these 2 hours, right, they had an open bar. And in this 2 hours, I smashed 5 glasses of wine, and then... when I was really fucked up, actually I should try and see if I've got the fucking photo. Don't worry about it. I was really fucked up, and someone then put a beer in front of me, and because now I'm fucked up, it's for those that don't know, I'm trying to keep off gluten because it fucks me up, and beer has a lot of gluten, and I had it. And I'm starting to feel the gluten effects now. It's only just come on in the last couple of hours. That's how I've really fucked up. But then, somehow, after the function, I don't know how I managed to make my way back to the car where Lila was. She drove, by the way. I was in no state to fucking drive. I've never been really wine drunk before, but apparently it hits you all at once like a truck. Whereas with beer, it happens slowly, and you can then just go, all right, I've had enough. I'll stop now. But with wine, I was like, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. 5 wines later plus a beer, and then you're like, oh, shit! I'm sitting in the back of the car. Feel like I'm dying. I'm texting like people on Twitter, which I shouldn't have been doing. I think I only managed to tell one person I love them, which was Coolio is Coolio. Sorry Ripley, I didn't get to you. Because what happened was, Lila thought I fell asleep in the back of the car, but I don't sleep in moving vehicles at all. And when you sleep, like, you can still tell how long you've been asleep for. Like, I closed my eyes for what felt like 2 seconds, and an hour and a half went by. And I was at home. I blacked out in the back of the car. And then I get up. I'm going to go straight to bed. It's like 8 p.m. And then, blah! Just fucking everywhere. And I'm like, just red wine and shit. I run to the bathroom. Blah! Everywhere. Like, it looked like someone was murdered in the bathroom. It was like, I only stood over the toilet, but like, I got it in places that I didn't think were possible from puking at that angle. And everyone is pretty much safe from me killing them because I could never clean a crime scene properly. Like, it was so bad. And then, I think I told Twiz actually what happened then. When I get that drunk, I text people for help. Because I think I'm going to die. Anyway, that was how I fucked up.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening
I've
to
only had that once from you.
You've had what?
I've had that once from you.
What'd you have?
When you started messaging.
What did I message you? When?
I think it was after you did your comedy set, and then I think you had a few, and then you were like freaking out. You were like, oh no! I catch the wrong train. Now I'm
that one!
Home.
I thought you meant when I did when I did mine, I drove home, so I was thinking like I wasn't that drunk. And then I remember now. I think I was even more than that time, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was bad. See, how the fuck did I make it? I know what you're talking about. I have no idea how I made it home that night. Had to take 3 different trains, or maybe 4. Somehow made it home drunk. But then when I went to Comic-Con, I was sober, and I ended up in the middle of the fucking bush. I don't know how that happened. Like, anyway. All right, let's bring on our guest.
Do you just walk onto random trains? Like, do you just walk onto random
I think I did, and just ended up home. All right, our guest tonight, we've known for 2 years, and he decided to tell us nearly a month ago that he worked in the adult industry. GeekSqueek, are you there?
Yeah, man.
Hey, I forgot to warn everyone that you have a sexy voice. No homo.
No homo.
No homo.
It's fitting for today's topic of discussion.
Yeah, Davey.
I should read 50 Shades of Grey, right?
Yeah, so we've known each other for like 2 years nearly. You've only just told us
like
that you worked in the adult industry. Ripley told me... Sorry, go on. You go.
I told Ripley, and he was like, I need to tell Mitch this.
Yeah. Yeah, he told me as I'm going to sleep. He goes, Davey worked in porn. And I went, you fucking what? And then I'm like, we got to get him on.
That was my first thought when he told me, is like, it'll make a great podcast episode.
So what did you do?
Well, I started out with my photographing models and
like naked.
And that turned, like naked models and toys, sex toys for women.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And that got me to parties. So my boss asked me to make photos at a party. And I was like, what kind of party? And it was a sex party.
Uh-huh. Wait, sex party is in like, there were people fucking?
Yeah. And I needed to film that.
Wow, I thought it wasn't that intense. You dumbed it down a little. You were like, oh no, I just go and film parties. And I'm thinking like, oh, people like drinking cocktails and shit. So hang on.
No,
before
like
we go as well.
Model.
Anything that I ask, and you can't say, you don't want to say, you can say pass. Don't feel bad. Don't feel pressured. Because I did offer you to do this not live so that you had that opportunity better to say, oh, cut that out. But then you insisted that we do this live. Also, your boss did say that no one listens to this podcast. And that was before last week when our viewership increased just a little bit. So...
I'm gonna censor this.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck me. So, all right. So, how close did you get to these people, or did you have like a Zoom or something, or what?
Well, I've got wet sometimes. Yeah.
You got wet
Yeah, it's like
by sweat or
when they're
semen?
really into the sweat and stuff like that, just randomly.
Was it nice?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I was just trying to get a feel for like how much you were enjoying it. So you weren't enjoying. Okay. So
No, I did it like 3 times because it pays a lot, and
Yeah.
I really needed the money. But I rather did the sex toys photography.
okay. So okay. What was the so you only did it 3 times. What was the craziest thing you saw?
The craziest thing I saw. Okay, this thing is really weird. You got man models at parties like that, and women get invited, or they're also models.
Do they have
So it
gigantic
looks like
dicks?
it's a real party. But they had a plate with hot dogs, and the man models are walking around with the plates, but very low below the belt. So
And
one
the-
of the hot dogs has a dick in it,
Uh-huh.
and some people just try to get that hot dog and try pulling it and stuff.
Cool.
And one time, yeah, it's really crazy.
There was a viral picture that went. I remember in the early 2000s, like memes and stuff in the early 2000s were sent by email. But I remember I got one of these like chain emails, and it was "Don't Trust the Hot Dog Man." It was called, and it was basically what you're describing.
Yeah, it's basically something like that, and
Yeah.
it happened a lot. The hot dogs was really a thing at parties.
So did people eat the hot dogs?
Yeah,
Why?
they did.
Do
I don't know.
Did they not care about hygiene?
Well, the hygiene code is very big. It depends in where you film. In the Netherlands, it is.
So does everyone have to like get tested?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Did you have to get tested?
Most of the part. No, because I didn't have sex.
Oh, okay. So okay.
We were wearing animal suits. The guys who filmed it
Yeah.
were wearing animal suits, not
So
like
they-
furry suits.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like furries. So like, how would you then film a furry party then? Like, how would they? Or they don't exist in Europe
Yeah, I'm not gonna film a furry party.
yet. Jesus Christ. So were these like rich people? Or is this like elites and stuff? Or were these just everyday kind of normal people?
Yeah,
Well,
was it Jeffrey Epstein?
No, like I said,
What the fuck, Ripley? You know what that is, Ripley? You know what Jeffrey Epstein was fucking in for? He was like in for those, but illegal ones. Davey didn't do illegal ones, Ripley.
Well, that's my story for the week.
Davey, oh yeah, I worked in this thing, and Ripley straight away, shoom, were they pedos?
oh goddamn.
That's basically what you said. I'm just teasing you, Ripley. Sorry, Davey, come on.
So, I don't know what I was going to say. Okay. So, it depends because some parties were fake. Like you're filming like it's a real party, but everybody is a model. And
Yeah.
I got one party, like girls get invited, like a swingers party,
Yeah.
and they need to do a test before they can sign in and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so were these like everyday, like middle class people, or were they like?
yeah, there are middle class people. You got one time I recognized somebody, but I stayed away from that. I think
So
it
you-
was somebody from my old class.
Oh my God. Was it man or woman? Man or woman?
Can you? It was a woman.
It was a woman.
Were they performing?
No, she was just there for the fun.
That's a real test of character there. Like, if your job is to photograph naked people, and at a party or whatever, and then you see someone that you know, and you, Davey, went, "No, I'm going to respect that. I'm not going to like go." That's a
Yeah, because
good test of character.
It's one thing you get to know because they tell you if you see somebody you know,
Yeah.
just let them be.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to make them uncomfortable and stuff.
Fair enough.
So, were these films for like public viewing, or were they for like private
Yeah,
mementos for the people?
Yeah, can we see these? Like, not
Some-
now. Not
some
now,
are
later.
on Pornhub, so you can find them on Pornhub. I'm not gonna say which one, but
Okay, no, don't tell us now. No. This is very like not R-rated stream. No, you tell me after. You can tell me after. Unless you can't, then don't. But you can tell me after. Oh man, sorry, I'm just bewildered because like, yeah,
You're gonna watch it with your wife, or?
No, Jesus Christ! you, you assume we're exciting. Sorry, so yeah, when you told me before that it was just parties, right? I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not gonna ask him about any pornographic questions because I thought that meant that you weren't photographing porn. But
Yeah, I was.
as I'm finding out now, you were. The narrator goes, he was. Jesus.
So, how did they instruct you to like? Were there any specific like instructions that like they would give you to get the best angle?
Yeah.
Well, it was totally different for what I started with, like the photography of sex toys and stuff. It's very simple, but
Did you get
if
better
you
at
go
it?
there, I've got really good at it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not a problem. It's really good because some people, like, you watch some and it's like they don't know where to put the camera. All they get is like a thigh or like an ankle, and it's like, come on, man, it's like you want to step in.
Beneath balls and stuff. I've seen balls dangling in between my eyes, and
Oh! Sorry. That was an involuntary scream there, like fuck.
it also
Fuck,
depends what
Jesus
kind
Christ.
of camera you have.
Was there a quota
Did you-
of like balls that you had to get in? Like,
Did you
shots?
No, not really.
did you have a GoPro strapped to your head, and you were just
No,
like,
no,
let me get
I
in
had a
there?
really professional camera.
Fuck. Sorry, I'm just processing. And like, you've had this information this whole time for 2 years.
It's nothing I will shout out to
I
the
know-
world, but now I'm doing it on a podcast, so...
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's nothing. It's normal here in Europe.
It's the Netherlands!
It's Amsterdam, baby. Was it Amsterdam?
No, not in Amsterdam.
Oh.
Every American or Australian or not Dutch are always saying Amsterdam this, Amsterdam that, but we got so many more crazy
Davey, if I ever go
but,
there, like, oh, I can't ask you here now. It's public. Fuck it.
I'll take
Will
you to a party, man.
Can you take me to a party?
Yeah, of course.
I got to do that, even though like she's gonna kick
We're
down
gonna
the
eat
door
some hot
today.
dogs.
I'll just watch. I gotta go gluten free.
This is definitely the episode where Lila bursts in.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. You know, she listened to the last week's one, I think, for a little bit, and she's like, "Oh yeah," because I gotta tell you, sorry, just with last week's episode, I left the back door open, so the whole neighborhood would have heard me screaming. And I remembered straight away then that I said the words "accused of rape" really loud. And I was screaming that out.
Jesus.
So the whole like, the cops... I'm surprised that the cops didn't show up and kick down the door, and I got sort of, like, live swatted. Anyway. So, yeah, that was another way I fucked up last week. Davey.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Can I say something?
Of course you can.
I'm not Alex is saying in chat, and that's something I want to point out.
Yeah.
He says, I feel like hygiene is the furthest thing for someone mind on a porn set, but that's not true, actually. Hygiene is very high on the list.
At the good ones, like in Amsterdam, in Netherlands, yeah. In the shitty ones,
It's
like...
really crazy because you got so many rules you need to think of before you start something like that. It's crazy.
Oh, man. I had this other random question. So, like, I saw this tweet by Justin Wang the other day, and he had a picture of a kangaroo, and he was talking about the pouches. And then I was thinking, okay, so it's bestiality if you put it in a kangaroo's ass. It's bestiality if you put it in their vag. It's bestiality if you put it in their mouth. But, Davey, is it bestiality if you stick your dick in a kangaroo's pouch? Now, the Joey isn't in there, because that's at Jeffrey Epstein territory. Is it bestiality if you stick it in the pouch? Because it's like this hole in their belly. And I wanted to ask you, because you're the
What?
expert.
I want to ask you something first, then. Why do you want to stick your dick in a kangaroo?
I don't. It was just a random thought in my head. No, because you know why? Only a fucking idiot would do that, because a kangaroo would kick the shit out of you. Like, have you seen them?
Well, if you like it, somebody kicking your ass.
Yeah, some people like that.
This
Oh.
entire episode is like that one episode of the Kyle and Jackie O show.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Oh, God, but we're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Alright, so not bestiality. I'll put you down for that. Alright, thank you for that.
No problem, man.
How did you fuck...
So,
you go, Ripley. Sorry, you got a better question.
you were saying before that you, as the cameraman, you had to wear animal suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
Because at not the free parties, like people get invited and they are not models. They need to know who not to touch and who.
Yeah,
So
it's to
the
differentiate
guys,
them.
even if I put down my camera and I need to walk from the other side, I have a costume on, so they know. Oh, we don't involve with him.
Yeah.
But the best way they could come up with to differentiate the two is an animal costume.
Yeah,
I guess it's easy to
it's
see.
really easy.
I don't know.
I want to ask you. I've got this footage here of this Twitch streamer. Let me just switch over to the video. This guy
I
is.
have some delay, so
Yeah, I'll read it out while it is being delayed. He said, "I believe all women can do what they want, whatever they want. But I wanted to upload this clip and ask Twitter: should girls wear bras while streaming, or is this okay for Twitch?" And so she's just bopping around and stuff. I don't think she's doing
I've
anything
seen
bad.
this.
Oh, you saw it? What do you reckon?
Well, why not?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, like,
I mean, if you can't handle jiggly tits, don't go outside.
if you can't handle jiggly tits, then don't go. Okay. Yeah. See, it's what is it
That's
like?
quote of the year.
If you can't handle jiggly tits, then don't go. Like, it's got her nipple outline. Like, are we gonna start banning people for that too? Like, I mean, if you're gonna ban women for nipple outlines, shouldn't we ban dudes for nipple outlines too? Because we got that shit. Like, I think I've got a nipple outline right now. Anyway, I can't shit on them because, like, I would be doing the same thing if I could. I've always said this.
Yeah, me too.
If people wanted to see me doing that, I'd do it. But no one wants to see me do that, so I don't do it. No one asks for it, so I don't give it.
Jesse does, but you don't.
Jesse does. What does
I
Jesse
really
do?
have small nipples, so I don't know.
Oh, I do too. No, it doesn't matter about their size. No, it doesn't matter about their size. It doesn't matter about their size. What was it? I was saying something to someone earlier about it. Tipster said something like, oh, damn it. He said, anyone saying this girl is sexually... This is what Tipster said. Anyone saying this girl is breaking the sexually suggestive attire rules is a moron. This woman isn't ditching her bra to look sexy. Saggy titties aren't sexy. She's not wearing a bra because they're not comfortable. As long as girls are covered, who gives a shit? Jeez. And I said, Tipster, I believe everything in that tweet is correct. Except for the part where you said saggy titties aren't sexy. Because all titties are sexy. I don't care what the fuck's, like, up with them.
Yeah,
Exactly. Thank you. Free the titty.
every titty is a good titty.
Every titty's a good titty. That's gonna be my new sound effect for when someone don't. Every titty's a good titty. So she's still sitting there. All right, cool.
Just making quotes and quotes here.
Yeah. I already asked you if you ever saw tits. Obviously you did, so it doesn't even matter if I did ask you or not because obviously you saw titties. So. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get my head around it. Maybe you should have sent me these beforehand so I could watch, and then I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. So, how many
I
people...
can send you now.
Oh, better not risk that, because I'll accidentally play the sound, and
Yeah.
we'll get in trouble. So, I definitely will accidentally play the sound. So, how many people were at these parties? Like, was it huge? Was it little?
Most of the times you got like 20 male models.
Yeah.
And the women depends on how big the room is and stuff. Most of the times it's just a how do you say it in English? A discotheque.
The
That's what we call
ratio.
it.
The ratio. I was gonna say, what was the ratio?
It's like a big club, and you got a DJ, and you got bar personnel.
Oh, like
wearing
a
other-
like a nightclub. Or
Yeah,
a bit like a nightclub.
gentleman's club, as we call it in Australia.
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
So-
like, were they sectioned off? Like, here's the time for like drinking and general dancing and stuff, and then
Not
at
really.
this time,
So
You got girls at the bar drinking a wine, and the girl next to her giving a blowjob to one of the male models. You know.
cool. So I have an announcement to make. I'm not going to VidCon next year. I'm actually going to Europe instead. Netherlands, to be specific.
Serious.
No, I better not. I gotta go to VidCon first, and then we'll see about Europe. I'll get my Italian citizenship, then get.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this: if you come to the Netherlands, you can sleep at my place,
Okay.
so you don't have need a hotel.
And I won't need to get questioned by customs either as to where I'm staying, because I'd be like, European citizen, bitch.
And we can watch the videos together, so I don't need to send them to.
Sorry, what was that?
And we can watch the videos together, so I don't need to send them.
Well, I'm not flying all the way to Europe just to watch the videos of it. Jesus Christ, we're going to talk to your old boss, and then we'll interview her, get her on the podcast, and she's listening right now, and I bet she's like, niente,
Should I ask
niente,
her?
or whatever. Does she speak? She speaks English, right?
Yeah, of course.
Ah, shit. I was hoping that she didn't, so then, like, she could never listen to this thing. Oh, fuck. Buraku says, what about 3 titties in one body? Did you see 3 titties? I wanted to ask that, actually. Thank you for reminding me. Did you see 3 titties?
3 titties? No, I never seen 2 titties. Maybe on the porn site, but maybe when I was 16 or something, I was jerking off on 3 titties. But nothing to do.
Before the stream, you're like, now, I can't say very much. I have to be very careful with what I say. And then you just hear straight up like, oh, when I was 16, I jerked off to 3 titties. To 3 titties, sorry. I'm trying to do it.
My girlfriend just walked in, and I was saying, yeah, maybe when I was 16. And she was looking at me like, what?
Oh, for the record, too, that's like... Anyway, no, I don't need to go into that. I've got TwizFizz in the chat here saying, come for the doxing, and they're all like chanting, dox or no more stream, it should become tradition. Alright. Yeah, you weren't here, TwizFizz. I don't know if you listened to the replay, but I did say I tore up your address. I don't know what it is now. I've deleted it from everything. I have no idea where you live, and if I ever need to mail you anything again, which I probably won't, I'd need to get it off you again, but I'm too scarred to ask anyone for their address ever again.
next minute it just pops out of nowhere up on the screen
swear
like
to
a
God.
billion times.
I swear to God, if that happened... Am I even logged into Skype? I don't think I am. Like, I should have nuked that thing. Anyway. Oh, man, I'm getting the Vietnam flashbacks now. What other shit happened at these parties, man? These fucking sex orgies that you were at.
Yeah.
Did,
I don't know what to tell.
Did you get any benefits? What were the... Did you get any benefits out of it? Like, work benefits? Like,
Very cool equipment. You can take the equipment home, and
like the
I
camera.
also edit it. Yeah. So I can use it for private use and stuff.
did I tell you guys I almost worked for a porn company in Australia?
I think you told us that off
told us
stream
that.
and you were saving it for...
Oh, but I didn't tell you the story. So,
No.
it was 2012. I'd been following this photographer in Melbourne, this woman who did photography for porn and filmed it and stuff. And being a video editor, I inquired if they needed a video editor. And it turned out they did. And they're in Melbourne. And I'd always wanted to live in Melbourne. Not so much anymore, but at the time, I so badly wanted to move there. And I sent my resume through, but the big boss lady, and I won't say which company it is, but they're on Pornhub as well, they kind of suck. But she didn't like my resume because it didn't have my picture in it. And I'm like, what the fuck do you need my picture for? Like, I'm not auditioning to go on the camera. And Lila was very against it. Her and I had only been dating for 2 months. Now, 2 months dating someone, if you get given like a good like job opportunity, if the money's like really good, doing something that you reckon you'd like editing porn, living in the city that I wanted to live in, 2 months, I'm sorry, is not, and like, that's not strong enough to turn something like that down. So like, obviously if it happened now, yeah, I'm not in the slightest, but like, if I got that job, my child wouldn't exist. I would have been in Melbourne editing porn. And I remember I rang Mum to ask her. I rang Mum to get a blessing. And she's like, oh, why don't you ask your father? So I ring Dad. Dad, can I work in porn? And he's like, oh, I better ask your mother. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like in this loop of like, ask each parent. They both... I don't know if it was that they wanted to say, like, you can't, but just didn't have the balls to, but... Yeah. The Poopy Corn says that is prejudice. I think he's referring to the photo. That is prejudice. I don't think you're allowed to do that. It'd probably make sense if it was relevant to the job, like if I was being on camera. But yeah. And they yeah, the way they work is very safe as well. Like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say, so I probably won't. Twist fist porn over child. What? No, I was only I don't know what she means by that. I was only with Lila for 2 months. It was not the same as now. I would not be going there for that now. Jesus Christ.
But did you edit any of the porn, or didn't you accept it? Or?
No, I didn't get offered. They didn't want me.
Ah.
Because I didn't have a photo. And they didn't... Yeah.
Why do they need a photo of you?
And I don't think the woman running it liked men too much. Like, she didn't like men having an input or something. That's what I heard. Through the grapevine.
Weird.
Yeah, so she only liked working with women. Totally illegal, totally sexist. And it's kind of like,
my boss was pretty relaxed and stuff kind of
like. Wouldn't you want to listen to your target demographic at all? I understand that she would have final say. That would never have been a problem. Oh yeah, I was wondering what this was written down here for. Is it bestiality if you stick your dick in a kangaroo pouch? That's some fun for people who have tuned in before we talked about that. After we talked about that.
Why did you ask that?
It just popped into my head. It popped into my head this week, and I'm like, I'm asking Davey.
Every time I stream, I feel my hopes for my career getting weaker and weaker.
Yeah, Ripley, I don't know what you're doing, man. I don't know what you're doing here. Like, you should have known that you shouldn't be here if you want to have an actual career in anything. You're fucked. You're so cancelled, man. You were cancelled last week when we doxed somebody by accident.
Yeah. None of it's my fault either. It sucks. This must be how Jackie O feels on the Kyle and Jackie O show.
Everyone is now saying it is bestiality. What the fuck? Yeah, we know. That's the point. Yeah, you came in too late. We were talking about that earlier. Davey, how did you fuck up in the last week?
Wait, what?
How did you fuck up in the last week? Everyone fucks up. How did you fuck up in the last week?
How did I fuck up?
Yeah.
Not really.
Oh, fuck off. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. I fucked up.
This is why you need to send the questions to the guest ahead of time.
Well, the guest should know that that's something I ask everybody, even though he's only like literally our second guest in as many months. Doesn't everyone have
something, but
or not in the last week? Just tell us a story of how you fucked up like royally. Like
nothing
everyone
comes to mind really.
Nobody's perfect. Everyone has an I fucked up story. Twist Fizz doxed someone last week. This week bestiality. Yeah, that's where you are. You're not on fucking Good Morning Australia with Bert Newton.
Because of this podcast, and I get a message from my boss saying you didn't have to say.
Hold on. From your boss, as in your present boss?
My ex-boss.
Your ex-boss. You made it sound like you're still doing this shit. Are you still doing this stuff?
No, maybe in private.
Only when the money's tight.
Yeah. I'd totally do it. I'd do it full time. I wouldn't be like, I'm only going to do it for a couple of weeks. I'm a whore. That's why. So I was about to offer myself to that woman, but I'm like, no, because even she's going to be like, no, fuck off. Buraku said, if you fuck an animated hedgehog that can go at the speed of sound, is that bestiality? Well, if he's not real, I don't know. We're crossing into like anime, furry, fucking weeb pillow shit there. Have you thought about how you fucked up, Davey?
I'm thinking about it. Wait, I can ask my girlfriend if you want.
Yeah, get her on. Tell her. She'll have heaps of stories. They always do. They never forget. They hold on to that shit like a sponge. If I got Lila in here, the amount of stories that she'd have, just in the last week alone.
Oh my god, can we have Lida on as a guest one week? Please.
No, because she'll probably reveal everything. Help, he's
Wow.
a psycho.
I've got an answer.
Oh, okay. How did you fuck up?
So I asked her, how did I fuck up this week? And she said, by not doing the dishes.
What? By not doing
Nope.
the dishes. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
This is why
Yeah.
the Netherlands is like so
Pure?
doing so well as a country.
Yeah, because they're having orgies and they do the dishes.
Yeah, and
That
that's their only problem. Their biggest problem is when they don't do the dishes.
That's the cornerstone of a great country. Have orgies, do dishes. Have orgies, do dishes. Have orgies, do dishes. Jesus.
The biggest problem in the Netherlands is still Black Pete, but
You had to insert Black Pete in there. You brought it up before the stream, and you've showed me, and I'm like, dude, that's super racist. How is it? So,
it is.
Can you explain this holiday that you have on December 5th in the Netherlands? Because it's really fucked, man. I'm sorry, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it really is fucked up. So we got like a Santa Claus here on the 5th of December. And he has like white people painted black on her face, giving out presents and stuff.
But why?
And they have like, I don't know how they say it in English.
I
but
don't-
They have that curly hair, the golden earrings, red lips. Really, really extreme.
It is. I don't even know if I'm allowed to show it on stream if I'll get in trouble, but I'm gonna. So here is this is the Netherlands.
You probably will.
Look at this. No, I'm condemning
Really,
this shit.
I'm gonna get death traps.
Well, nobody
because
knows who
people
you are.
will tell
No,
me-
no one knows your true
No,
identity, so it's fine.
I don't care. They can because
Nobody knows who you are.
it's just wrong.
Oh, great. So now you're telling me that I'm gonna get death threats now for saying that this is wrong. So now I've got the choice between condemning this shit and getting death threats from the Netherlands, or not condemning it enough and being called a racist by America.
It's just the older generation in the Netherlands not seeing that this is wrong.
Oh, okay. Fuck them. I can take them on.
The okay boomers.
Yeah.
Okay, Boomer.
Oh, yeah, twist fist in the chest like, oh no. Yeah, that's fucked. That's fucked. That's like a national... Like, people should just forget how racist Australia is from just that one holiday that you guys have over there. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
And I only...
I grown up as a child with this, and yeah.
I only
You
found out
don't know
about
if-
this...
If you ask it,
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
the whole thing is that the boomers are saying that it is good because it's a child. But like a comedian in the Netherlands said, you can call it any name, Terminal Dog Day or something. You know,
Yeah.
dog dies of cancer, and you
Yeah.
get presents, and you go sit around the dog.
Yeah.
The kids don't care if they as long as they get presents.
Yeah. Yeah. That is... Yeah, I only found out about this half an hour before we went on stream. That is so fucked.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, the Netherlands. You have super cool orgies and really fucked up holidays. Is your boss going to judge you for shitting on her, or she's probably the same because she's not a boomer?
No, I should not gonna shit.
I'm just
hope
aware that she's going to listen to it, possibly. She probably won't even get to the bit that you're on. She'll probably, like, get 5 minutes in where it's just still Ripley, and she's going to be like, the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this shit? And she'll turn it off.
Maybe she recognizes you, and she was the one asking you for the job. You know?
No. No, that one was in Australia.
That will be a plot twist.
Yeah, it would. Well, no, she won't recognize me because I didn't have a picture. Alright. Do you like Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah,
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I was I was in the bath earlier today and I was like, I might put on the Italian Sonic trailer just for shits and giggles. I'm like, oh yeah. I just want to see how it sounds in Italian, because usually like the Italian trailers are exactly the same as the English ones, but they just change the fucking language, obviously, the dub.
You're a strange human being.
I am a strange human being. What? I can't lie. I gotta tell you the truth. I'm sorry, it was what was happening. I'm fucking old now, so that's what old people do. So the trailer in Italian is actually really different. There's a few extra shots, and there's a couple of extra lines of dialogue. They're not too, like, great. They're nothing revealing. I got Lila to translate them. So I've got to try and remember the translations as we go through this trailer. So, here we go. Sorry to his fist. She gets, yes, watching Sonic in the bath. Alright, here we
Chiamo
go.
Sonic, una piccola palla blu di super energia
Alright, so
in un
that's the
pacchetto
same
molto
as the English
fascinoso.
one.
E per salvare il mio pianeta
And then when it gets to
sono
this bit,
dovuto venire sul posto.
I was like, wait a minute, it's different from here.
Dove sono? Che anno è? Dirà che è presidente.
That bit was different. That was not in the English. And what he basically just says is, wait, what happened? Who am I? What year is it? I don't know who I am.
Dirà che è presidente.
So I don't know if that's him, like, pretending to not know what happened after he fucked everything up and then running off, or if he's legitimately lost his memory. He probably hasn't lost his memory, because then how would he know that he's Sonic?
Dirà che è presidente.
So, pretty much,
20 minuti
there's
fa,
only just a couple of extra
sovraccarico ha
shots in this
provocato un
thing. I'll leave a
blackout in
link
tutto il
in
nord-ovest del
the
Pacifico.
description when I'm done.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
I wonder if in the Chinese release of the movie they'll cut out the subplot where Sonic had a gay relationship with Knuckles.
What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
'Cause, China, they cut out those plots with same-sex relationships.
But they don't have a same-sex relationship, Ripley. My
That was the joke.
But my bestiality story made more sense than that. What the fuck? You're like, hang on, pause the trailer. I got this thing. Sonic and Knuckles be gay. I'm like, oh, okay. They're not though.
Pensi di poter fuggire da me? Ah, questo è carino.
Yeah, so basically he said there, oh, you think you can get away from me?
La macchina è assicurata, vero?
The power there was different. See? I found this. This is a treasure trove of new shots that you guys didn't know about.
I don't think you realize that nobody else cares about
Everybody should care. Everybody should care, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog. There was only one other bit
What do you
that's
think
really
of
different.
the redesign?
So there's that new shot as well of Jim Carrey. The redesign, I think it's way better. I wasn't really that fussed when it was... I went back and looked at my initial reaction video when the first trailer came out. And at first I was like, oh, this is ugly, this is gross, but at the same time it's for kids, so we shouldn't really care. But this is way better. Like, I think they've saved them. If there was going to be a sequel, they've saved it. There would have been no sequel if they kept the original. That's also different. Anyway, go watch it for yourself. I'll put it in the link afterward. Now Ripley's in the chat. Ripley, what are you doing? You can just speak. I was making a comment about China and a bad fight. Yeah, you're banned from China now, man.
I was trying to like do the thing about how China cut out the mentions of Freddie Mercury being gay.
Also,
and I was trying to make a joke about that, and it didn't work.
Twitz in the chat says that she has a whole Sonic DeviantArt, like a whole DeviantArt dedicated to Sonic. So she does care. Ripley, people care about Sonic. You're just too young.
I'm just getting beat up on this episode, aren't I?
Yes, for a change. And I'm the one who brought up kangaroo bestiality. I'm the one that should be getting beat up. And it was my machine that accidentally doxed TwizFizz. Oh, boy. So that's that. Davey, have you got any other crazy stories about being inside the orgy room?
What was your like initial thoughts doing it for the first time? What was your expectation
were you
versus
hesitant?
the reality?
Yeah, were you hesitant?
Well, It's scary at first, of course, but I already made photos of women naked and toys and stuff, so I was kind of used to it.
Yeah.
But it's totally different because you don't know where to look, and when you got a model, you focus on one person, but you can see someone giving a blowjob in front of you, and something else happens behind you too. So
Davey,
you need to.
Davey,
Yeah.
what did it smell?
Yeah.
What did it smell like?
It didn't smell like anything. Maybe a bit sweaty, but
That's it. It's just a bit sweaty.
yeah.
No, like. I don't know.
They have like those diffusers in places.
Did you ever get any other fluids?
I think we
on
asked that.
yourself?
I think we asked that
Asked him?
Ripley. Yeah, we asked him. He said just
I
sweat.
think you asked that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed that you didn't when you were underneath ball sacks. Yeah, you guys missed that. He mentioned ball sacks earlier. He was underneath flopping ball sacks. I tell you, did you stop there in that moment and like pause and go like, how did I get
I
here?
think when you're working like that, your mind just goes blank and you just.
No, that would have been the moment in the movie, the biopic movie of your life. That's where it's at the beginning of the movie, and then it freezes and goes, yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Flop, 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 flop. Well, it all started when I needed some, I don't know, fucking money. Oh, jeez. Ripley, you shouldn't quit. What are you typing that in the chat for? Ripley? Ripley, why
If you're
are
gonna
you saying
quit,
you're
I
gonna quit?
can get a job for you, Ripley, at the parties.
He's sit a camera on his wheelchair and he can just pan across like me.
You get some cool shots, right?
Twist says, can we hear more about ShockMouths' bestiality fetish? I don't have a bestiality fetish. It's just random shit popped into my head and it had to be said out loud. I can't help it. I'm dumb. Please, don't kill me. I'm stupid. What was it that PewDiePie said in that video? Please don't kill me. I'm stupid. I can't help it. People dropped out when I mentioned the balls. I noticed the view. I mentioned balls, and then the view count went blop, 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 blop. Oh. Alright, well, thank you very much for this, Davey. This has been this has been a very unique episode. But at least no one got doxxed, right? No one got doxxed.
Yeah.
So,
this is pretty much exactly how I thought it would be. Do you reckon we can stretch it out for another 8 minutes?
no, I don't think we can. But yeah, like you said, Ripley, this is exactly how I thought it was gonna be. It was gonna be me sitting here going, ah! And Davey like, yes, as a matter of fact, I did sit underneath balls. And Ripley like, Knuckles and Sonic are gay. That was exactly the thought that I had before we went on. Knuckles and Sonic are gay.
The weirdest thing that happened.
That's not what the point of the joke was.
Hey, Twiz, if you want to link me on Twitter your Sonic Deviant art, we can review that if you want. But for God's sake, don't send me your address, okay? Don't send that to me. I don't need it. I don't need it.
You should do it anyway. You should send him your address.
Did you get the package yet,
Just see what
TwizFizz?
happens.
Did you get the package yet? Give me your Sonic
I
Deviant
love,
art.
I love how your thought process was, I'm really sorry I doxed you, so to make up for it, I'm gonna send you my hair.
Yeah, I had the hair in a tube, and I was walking through work, and everyone at work was commenting on the hair for like since I'd done whatever, and I'm walking through work with the tube, and I'm thinking, please ask me what's inside the tube, please, so I can just go, my hair, and then they'll be like, yeah, bullshit. Oh, Twiz hasn't got the package yet. Well, maybe I sent it to the wrong address. Could you imagine if I've sent this to the wrong fucking address? I don't have a return thing on it either. So, like, they're not going to know who it came from. They're just going to get this tube with hair and then a note that says, go fuck yourself.
And it's gonna be imagine if you like sent it to some like old lady or something.
Harold,
Like
I've got a bag of hair in a Woolworths bag, and it says "Go fuck yourself." Why?
Someone is gonna make a voodoo doll out of you, man.
Well, yeah. Luckily, it's not going to be TwizFizz.
Did you get your hair fixed up afterwards, or is it still how it was when you shaved it?
It's still a bit fucked, yeah. Like, I had, like, one long strand that I've cut off, but, like, that's about it. TwizFizz says it arrived yesterday. TwizFizz said it arrived yesterday, I think, but no one was home and they didn't drop it today. What do you mean they didn't drop it today? Don't you have to then go to the post office and pick it up? Isn't that how it works? That's how it works here.
So
What is this?
your hair is just sitting in the post office in Queensland.
Yeah, like, what is this fancy shit? Oh, hey, no spoilers. Hey, literally stole my idea. What, with the voodoo doll? You can still do that. That'd be a great video. Now it's going to seem you can totally still do it. That's fine. We won't tell anyone. It's a big... Like, Twiz, if you take any ideas from this stream, it literally won't matter because no one watches. No one watches. People would then go see yours and then possibly see mine after and think we stole it from you. That's how this works. Now, I think it was last year, I did a steamed hams ASMR video. And 4 months later, this huge ASMR channel did it. And then that then caused my video to turn up in the recommended of his. And people were coming from his video to mine saying I stole his idea when the dates were literally there saying that I did it first. Like, they didn't even cross-check. They were just like, you stole it, you stole it. So, like, the bigger YouTuber owns the idea is what I'm saying. And yeah, Queensland is a strange
like
state.
how Keemstar owns the suffix of star. I still get, you ripped off Keemstar with your name. I've had this handle since I was like 10 years old. It's very annoying.
Yeah. Twiz, still do it. I beg of you, please still do it. We might not even be talking about the same thing. We're talking about voodoo dolls, aren't we? I was scared she was going to, like, tape it to her face and shit and make a beard out of it. That'd be gross.
Please make a parody of ShockMouths. You can go through all the stages of ShockMouths. You can go back to 2016 ShockMouths when he was trying to be family friendly. That was a good period of ShockMouths.
There was
and then also when you were ripping off H3, that was another good period of ShockMouths.
I forgot to mention at the work function that I had a few days ago where I got so drunk that I literally blacked out in the back of the car and then puked all over my bathroom. That it was a milestone thing. So because I've worked there they got everyone who worked there for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and I was 10. And we all had a big group photo with the CEO and shit. And I'm there with, like, this bald fucking head. Like, 10 years I gave to this company for it to be ruined with this fucking bald head. And the morning after, actually, of the shaving, Lilith is, like, screaming in agony in the hall. Oh, wait up. I'm like, what? What's wrong? She's like, we've booked photos at Town Hall with Santa for our family Santa photos, which is, like, our tradition. It's, like, in our 3rd year. And they're ruined now. Oh, fucking hell.
I don't want to dox you, although it would be fair to dox you.
It would be.
But, at your work function, was, you-know-who there?
Rupert Murdoch was not there, no. But one person...
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he was not there. Please, you think he's got time? He's very busy.
No, but I'm saying, now that you know that, like, he is possibly...
He owns everything, though. Like, It doesn't narrow it down at all. He owns everything.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and now anyone watching who might be thinking, why doesn't he rip on Rupert Murdoch? Well, there you go. That's why. I have more Rupert Murdoch jokes than I do bald people jokes lined up.
I can't wait until they fire you and then you can just, like, release them all.
I think I'd have to give it, like...
Didn't they realize at that party?
Realize what at the party?
That you don't actually do any work anymore. Because the way you explained it to me is that you...
What? Wait, hang on. Yeah, you got to tell me what I... Because I don't remember shit. I don't remember shit, which is
The
really
way-
bad.
The way you didn't tell me anything that night, but the way you explained to me your work situation is that you really don't do that much work at work.
Shh. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, but my boss was there, and she's really nice, and she was telling all these people I do lovely things, and I'm like, yeah. Oh boy. Are you there, GeekSqueek? Sorry, we kind of went off on a big tangent there.
I'm just listening.
All right, I want to thank you again for coming and talking about your orgy party.
Thank you.
Yeah, like, how was that? I thought that was going to be a bigger train. Like, last week when we had Twiz on, I was like, and we had you lined up at the time as well. I was so prepared for this one to be a huge train wreck because, like, you know, balls flapping and shit. But then the Twiz one turned into a big train wreck because of the doxing incident that I was just like, oh, it's not going to be so bad now when David comes on. Thank you again for coming. Check out, why is that not playing? Okay, it's playing. Check out patreon.com/ShockMouths. Thank you again for coming, Davey. And Egoraptor.
Check out GeekSqueek
Oh, yeah.
on YouTube. Geekstar podcast on 2020.
Yeah, check that out. And Egoraptor, please make more cartoons.